Alright, there we go. Now I've got the green light. I got all the data going through. No webcam yet, but it'll turn up in like 20 seconds or so. Welcome. We're gonna go through the review with y'all. Hopefully you're able to jump in, say hi, see how life is going, and of course tackle these beautiful mathematical problems, just 10 of them. I'd kind of like to try going in order, but you know, yeah, it wasn't working. But now it's working. Yay, I see your guys' chat actually. Let me make that a pop out because it's easier for me to actually respond back to you that way. Yes, I got 2 free tacos. Yes, I'm live. I had technical difficulties. Alright, so hopefully things aren't looking too wonky, but you know, we should be good to go. We should be okay for streaming, for all the fun jazz, you know, the whole ordeal. So we'll kind of just go through each of the problems and just kind of answer questions. Of course, you know that if there are any specific questions that you yourself have, feel free to ask them in the chat box. Just like Lauren did there. Can we do number 9? Of course we can. So let's take a look at it. Of course, we've got our beautiful angles of elevation. So remember that I gave you all the step layouts. So the first thing we should do is draw our picture. So there's our kite. Then of course we have the 58 degrees. We know for a fact that there's 45 yards that are let out. So that's going to be this. Now I hope you don't put the 45 down here. I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen a kite fly on the ground. That just doesn't work out well. So there's our 45 feet as the hypotenuse. And then we're asking you what is the height. So the height of our kite is going to be how high up? Yeah, gotta draw it. So let's go ahead, set up our trig ratio. I believe with respect to our little dudette, you know, we've got the opposite side. And now we have the hypotenuse, which O and H gives us sine. So sine of 58 degrees is equal to H over 45. So then multiply both sides by 45. So therefore H equals 45 sine of 58. Oh yay, the webcam works now. Yay. Alright, so I don't have my calculator in front of me, but I know for a fact that that's going to be, you know, probably close to 30 some odd plus some change. I'm going to pull it up on my beautiful phone calculator here. 45 sine of 58. I am in degree mode, not radians. So yeah, we're going to have 38. 38.162. Now, what is the height to the nearest yard? So that means I want the whole unit, so that's going to be 38 yards. And I just realized that little mistake there. I put feet instead of yards. Alright, so hopefully that was of help, Lauren. I'm trying to see your little icon. Is that The Simpsons? Can't tell. Everyone's icons are so tiny. Oh well. You are welcome, child. What else do we got? Like I said, if there are no questions, we can just kind of go in order. It's only 10 questions, you know, it's not a lot. We can definitely cover all of this easily within half an hour. I can take 45 minutes if I need to, but not an hour because I got Kingdom Hearts to play and it's waiting for me over there. Number 8, yeah. So Cyan, what you're gonna want to ask yourself is which angle do you want to solve for first? Okay, you can say let's solve for x first, and then you're gonna do one trig function. You could say let's solve for y first. You're gonna do maybe the same trig function, maybe a different one. It all depends on what the angle is, right? On what you're given. So let's pretend, hey, you want to solve for x first, okay? So if I'm solving for x, with respect to this corner, 3 is the opposite, 2 is the adjacent. So that's screaming tangent. So tangent of x equals the opposite over the adjacent. Now, if you remember, we said that we solve for the missing angle by doing inverse tangent. So x equals inverse tangent of 3 over 2. You're going to type that in your calculator and you're going to get an angle. Got to get that calculator out. Second tangent 3 over 2. And it looks like we got 56 degrees. Now, you have a choice. You can do trig again, which there's nothing wrong with that. Or you can use the property of saying, hey, all 3 angles of this triangle are supposed to add up to 180 degrees. And we know that this corner is 90 degrees. So you could solve it that way. Let's do trig just to kind of, you know, show, hey, what if I solved for y first? If I solve for y, well, now with respect to y, this is the opposite side. And this would be the adjacent side. So, looks like tangent again. So we would say tangent of y equals my opposite over my adjacent. Alright, I can dig it. So y is going to equal inverse tangent of 2 over 3. So 2 over 3, why is my phone's calculator not, there we go, now it's turning sideways. Inverse tangent, 2 over 3, and we get 33.6, which we round up to 34. And so either way, if you solve for x, find the missing angle, doing 180 degrees minus the other 2. Or if you solve for y first, do the same thing again, you'll get the same answers. You're not going to have any problem there. All right. Hopefully that was of help to you, Cyan. Just taking a look, seeing where we're at. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. Number 10. Right. So we're on top of a cliff, 70 meters high. The angle of depression to the hang glider is 72 degrees. Now, we got to be careful here because I know that based on the notes when we did this activity, some of you guys were putting the angle of depression in the wrong spot. Okay, the angle of depression, remember that that angle is in this corner here, so that's our 72 degrees. So then we can use our alternate interior angles and say, hey, the angle of elevation is 72 degrees. They are both equivalent. Now they're asking how far is the hang glider from the base of the cliff. That's our big one, because the base of our cliff is this length down here. So we got to solve for it. Now I'm no hang glider artist. There we go. Something like that. I'm no artist, but let's do some trig. We've got our 72 degrees pointing to 70, so this is the opposite. X is the adjacent, so we're gonna do tangent again. How do we know where to put the 72? Well, we're looking for either this phrase, the angle of depression, or we're looking for the phrase angle of elevation. Depression, if you remember from the notes, was where we said, hey, if you draw the horizontal lines, where if we saw one person in one spot and another person in another spot, they both look straight out. Right, and so those lines are parallel, Lauren. Since they're parallel, if I draw a line connecting those two people, this is our line of sight. They create that Z exactly. It's because it's adjacent to the line. So these two angles would be congruent. So that's why the angles are congruent. That's why I know where to put my angle of depression. Alright, so I'm going to move this out of the way. So we're going to do tangent. Tangent of 72 equals 70 over x. X is in the denominator. I need to get it in the numerator, / I need to get it on the same line. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x. So then we have x tangent of 72 equals 70. We need to get x by itself, so divide out tangent of 72. So then we type that in your calculators. My calculator's being dumb. Yeah. So let's see here. Oh, it would help if I took off the inverse part. 70 divided by tangent 72, and we get 22.7 to the nearest meter, so that's going to be 23. Number 1 or 2 next, please. Yes. So Ariana asked for number 2, so we can do both of them, Aiden. Sweet. All right. So number 1, we're just writing trig ratios. Right here it says write it for angle A. Whatever angle they tell you to, that's the corner you're going to stick your, little stick figure in. Okay, so that means with respect to here, that's our opposite. This 24 is adjacent to us. And then the right angle points to your hypotenuse. So if we recall, sine, and again, you can write this all over your paper, I don't care, SOHCAHTOA. So sine is our opposite over the hypotenuse. So that means I'm going to take my 7 and divide it by 25. And that's it. It says write the ratio. A ratio is a fraction. That's literally all you have to do. Let's look at cosine. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Here's my adjacent. There's my hypotenuse. 24 over 25. Now I have tangent of A. Let's do orange. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we have 7 over 24. And those would be your answers for your number 1, for your tangent, sine, cosine, all your trig ratios. That's what they are. They're trig ratios. I literally was like, what the heck are these called? Could not remember. All right. We will do number 2 next, because Ariana asked very nicely and she's been waiting very patiently. So right here, it's the same thing. We're asking you to look at angle A. So here's our corner. So we're going to draw our little stick figure. Okay, so with respect to A, 6 is the opposite side. 6 rad 3 is adjacent. And I'm going to move that a bit. I don't know what just happened there. That was weird. Okay. And then, of course, we have our hypotenuse. So, same thing as before. We're going to do 6 over 12 opposite over hypotenuse for sine. But you'll notice that 6 over 12 reduces to 1/2. So if your fraction can reduce, if your ratio can reduce, you should always reduce it. Now cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So I'm going to say 6 rad 3 all over 12. The numbers 6 and 12, because they're outside the square root, I'm going to reduce. I'm not going to reduce the 3, just the 6 and the 12. So that's going to reduce to a 1 over 2. And since it's a 1, we can just write it as the square root of 3 over 2. And yes, Elijah, I can do number 6 afterwards. Now, tangent might be the most confusing for all of you, because you're going to notice that when we do the opposite over the adjacent, we get this, 6 over 6 rad 3. Now, we don't want radicals down below. That's part of what we've been working on with the special right triangles. So if I have something like this, before I do anything with the radical, I'm going to reduce the numbers. The 6 and 6 become a 1, and the rad 3 is down below. I need to get that radical up on top, so I'm going to multiply top and bottom by the radical that's down below, which in this case is the square root of 3. Now, square root of 3 times the square root of 3 becomes just a plain old 3. Square root of 3 times 1 is just the square root of 3. And so now here, we're just going to say that, hey, this is our simplified answer. Believe it or not, this is simplified. So let's take a look. Hopefully Aiden and Ariana, that was of help to you both. You're welcome. Let's do number 6. So Elijah, you've got... Good question, Elijah. So if we look back here, each of those answers are probably going to be worth 2 points each. If you write the correct ratio that is not reduced, you'll get 1 point. You reduce it all the way correctly, you'll get 2 full points. Okay, but again, that key part, you've got to reduce it correctly. Okay? Number 6. We look at our angle here, situated in that corner. So our little dude sees the 51, that's the opposite. Sees the 28, that's the adjacent. So opposite adjacent, I'm thinking tangent. So tangent of x equals 51 over 28. Right now, Elijah, the angle is the only thing I don't know. I don't have a clue what it is. I only have my 2 sides. So this is literally screaming, get tangent away. We need to get the x by itself. That's going to be your inverse tangent. That's going to be your tangent with that -1 power. It's not a power, it's a function. Okay? Inverse tangent. 51 over 28. So we type that into our calculator. Well, it would have helped if I cleared out my answers from before. 51 divided by 28. So I get 61.23 blah blah blah. What am I rounding this to? I guess is a good question. I am solving for an angle. The directions do say round angles to the nearest degree. That means the nearest whole number. Side lengths we usually will have measured to the nearest tenth. Okay, so don't be getting all confused. So we're going to have that 61 degrees. So hopefully that was help to you, Elijah. And take a little water break. Yes, we can do number 7 as well. Oh, where'd my water bottle go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So, number 7. You're solving for both x and y. The only fixed constants we have are this angle in this corner and this 15 over here, which with respect to that is going to be our opposite. X is going to be adjacent to us, and y is going to be the hypotenuse. Now, I'm going to use that 15 and that 63 twice. If I'm solving for x first, I'm going to use the 15, which is my opposite, and this x, which is my adjacent. Opposite, adjacent, tangent. So tangent of 63 equals 15 over x. Same thing as before, we're going to try to get x in the numerator, multiply both sides by x. So then x equals, wow, let's try that again. X tangent of 63 equals 15. Need to get x by itself, so divide both sides by tangent of 63. And then you're going to type that in your calculator. Now, solving for y, we're doing something a little different because we have the 15, but the 15 and the hypotenuse, the opposite and the hypotenuse. So instead of tangent, we're now going to use sine. So we're going to say sine of 63 degrees equals 15 over y. Same thing as before, we're going to solve by multiplying both sides by y. Let me move that over. And then we're going to go ahead and divide out the sine of 63. Okay. Now, I have not typed that into my calculator at all. So I'm hoping that at this point you're not just copying things down, that you're being proactive and typing those in. So for the value of x, it looks like I'm getting 7.6. And it looks like for the value of y, if I could type this in, sine 63, I would get 16.8. All right. So hopefully that was of help to you, Aiden. Yes, it is a little bit of work, but totally doable. What else do we got, little critters? It's been a good day so far. I hope you all had a great day as well. Look at that, we have just 3 problems left. Who knows, maybe you all had an easy time with those 3. I'll still do them, I don't mind. Just figured, hey, if someone had a little more pressing matter, like they want to work on a specific one more than the other, we could do that. I'm just going to jump straight to number 3. Because why not? Got the hypotenuse. Got the adjacent side. So adjacent and hypotenuse, I believe, is cosine. So we're going to go ahead and say cosine of 31 degrees equals x over 52. Multiply both sides by 52. X equals 52. Cosine of 31. So then x equals whatever that beautiful thing is. Well, I know cosine of 30 is rad 3 over 2, 52, 26, 26. I think that's going to be 32 plus some change. So let's check here. 52 cosine 31 degrees. Oh, geez. I was way off. 44. Oh, I was thinking of the square root of 2, not the square root of 3. Yep, there goes my brain. 44.57. So that 7 is going to round the 5 up. So 44.6. Did I round earlier? I did. Okay, cool. All right. So then number 4. So it looks like it's the same thing. The difference is I have no angle values. So if I'm missing an angle, I'm probably going to do inverse trig. So that looks like cosine of x equals 32 over 55. So then x equals inverse cosine of 32 over 55. Yay! So let's solve it out. Alright, 54.4, but we are dealing with an angle, so it should just be 54 degrees. Sweet. Last one. Number 5. Opposite hypotenuse. We're dealing with sine. So sine of 46 equals 19 over x. Multiply both sides by x. So x sine of 46 equals 19. Divide by sine of 46. So then x equals 19 over sine of 46. I'm not going to even try guessing that anymore. Actually, half of 19 is 9.5. 9.5. Oh, no. I was about to do the wrong math. That would not have ended well for me. 19 divided by sine of 46. And it looks like we have a 13.66. We're looking for a side length, so that's going to round up to 13.7. All right. So there you have it. That's the whole packet. Took us, if you were here for the entire time, about 30 minutes because we had some minor technical difficulties. But other than that, looking great. Looking great. Right now YouTube says there are 7 people watching. I think the highest we had were 10. Some people were like, probably like, Mr. T, I'm bored, don't need your help. You're welcome, Ariana. Glad to be of service to my students in this fellow trade that we call being a teacher. You're welcome, Parker. I hope that I was able to be of assistance. If you all have any questions, don't hesitate to bug me tomorrow morning. The quiz layout is going to look almost exactly the same as this. You're welcome, Elijah. I love how Aiden says hello. It's like, we've been here, buddy. But, yeah. So just basically the same layout. You're going to have a question that looks like something like 1 or 2. You'll have a couple problems that look like these, and then a couple problems. You know, just some stuff to keep you on your toes. No biggie. Oh my goodness. I forgot to send the copies in for today. And by today, I mean by tomorrow. I'm going to have to wake up early and get to school early. Alright. Well, I'm done. I'm going to play some Kingdom Hearts right now because the game's waiting for me. It's been calling my name for the past however many years it's been since they said it was supposed to be there. Oh, you're funny, Aiden. The quiz is of single page front and back. Super easy to run off. Notes, you can just copy them. Kingdom Hearts is a new video game. It is a video game that is Disney and Final Fantasy style. It's very awesome. If you ever have the chance to play any video games, that is definitely one that I highly recommend, especially if you're into role-playing games, into RPG games. Yep, Kingdom. This microphone sometimes doesn't pick up because it's down here. Yeah, it's a little hard. I don't know how the sound quality is. I've never actually heard back my videos. I've just assumed you guys have heard me well since you guys have said thank you and blah blah blah. And usually I don't write out my responses, so you know. Still remember the one time I had ice cream. I ate ice cream in front of y'all, and one of your guys' parents had commented, not in the video, but said to me, Miguel, it was just so entertaining watching you because the kids really love you. And I was just like, duh. Anyways, hope you all have a good night. Good luck studying. And I'll chat with y'all later. Bye.